Welcome to another installation of ILTACON TV 2023. My name is Beth Ann Stubbe, and I'm the Director of Publications and Press for ILTA. And today, I'm joined by one of the longest-running ILTA volunteers that I've had the pleasure of speaking with in a long time, Scott David. Scott, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be leading one of the leaders for this year's conference.
Well, you're a return leader. This is your second round of this, and you really are leading us into Orlando. I think it's really interesting to start off with the idea that you've been working toward ILTACON on either our program teams, program planning for about a decade. I think at ILTACON you hit 10 years.
Yeah, I did, and I didn't realize that until until recently. It's been a while, and there's been a lot of just great opportunities, and that's kind of what happened here for ILTACON. I had just finished up a role as a co-chair working on content throughout the year, and the opportunity came up last year to be a co-chair, and I kind of jumped on it, and I'm really excited that I did because it's been really neat to do to take advantage of some of those things that you couldn't take advantage with virtual education when you had people in person. And that's really been something that's been neat and fun.
It's an interesting kind of swap over for us. We've done so much virtual programming. We do all of our session planning virtually, and to get back together in person in Orlando, where we were in 2018, what do you think's changed between 2018 and 2023?
Well, we had a little bit of a pandemic. That's kind of changed things, and I think the spin-off from that is some of the big themes that we have. Like at least for sure, one of them is that there's a lot of spin-off from hybrid work and how permanent that is. And it went from is it going to be remote, is it going to be in person? I think there's just about every firm has some level of hybrid. And certainly, a lot of firms now are looking at, their real estate, and the real estate comes up, and then what's the result of that? And there's a lot of IT repercussions for that, both in the physical space and in making sure that people are working in a hybrid way in the way that they need to. And, a lot of firms got things started in sort of an ad hoc thing when COVID hit, but now they're looking at it as a long-term permanent type of thing. So we've got content around that, some of the spin-offs of that. And, I think a real popular thing for firms is phone systems and getting virtual phone systems in the cloud, and that relates to hybrid work too. So your phone follows you everywhere you go, and that's a big thing that is sort of, not everybody connects that together, but it is really key to connect that together. And then you hear about lots of work from architects doing different kind of ideas for space, different kind of ways to make that in-person experience in the office important. And we've got content around that that specifically goes to that with people who've done that for lots of firms, helping them out in that area. So those are some things, when you think about 2018 to 2023, that's one of the biggest things that jumps in my mind.
I think for me, looking at our sessions this year, there are so many more sessions. It does feel like if you will, the agenda is just so much more full than it was. We certainly have record numbers of sessions, record numbers of speakers. From the program planning side, how has that affected the co-chairs, the speakers, the session coordinators? Has it made your jobs more difficult or easier?
Yeah, a little bit of both. I mean, we set several years ago, we really made an effort to reach out to the legal community in a concerted way to get ideas for our sessions. And we think that that has really improved our quality. And this year is no exception. We've had more session ideas submitted to us than ever before. And so that does make it a little bit of a challenge. It's a good challenge to have because it's great to have a lot of great ideas and have to whittle it down and combine them together to make great sessions versus not having enough. And that was the situation this year. We had plenty of great ideas. One of the things that was our theme as we were developing the conference is to make sure we were better at communicating to all the people all the way along the way who helped us, those people who submitted ideas, those people who applied to speak. We've made an effort to improve that, and I think we really have. And I think that's made it better for the conference, and I think you're seeing that in the quality of the sessions that we have.
Do you think the split venue between the Swan, the Dolphin, Yacht, and Beach will affect the conference? How do you think that people will transition from place to place? And do you think that this has made it a little bit more accessible in terms of what we can offer?
Well, I'm a distance runner, so I don't mind walking around at all. So that's not a big deal for me. For those of you in the running world, I'll have my Hokas on and
Me
I'll be
too.
moving about. And I think it does give us more opportunities to be spread out and give all of our different people who are at conference, give our business partner space to do what they need to do, to give our session space, and to give you kind of space to meet and mingle with lots of different people as you're going around. Um, and it's yeah, it's going to be a little warm outside, and then it'll be a little cold inside when you get into the air conditioning. But it's nothing. There's nothing wrong with moving around, and I still wonder. We've had conferences in Vegas, and I think you end up walking even more in Vegas
Yeah.
because you got to go through the casino and a labyrinth of slot machines and that type of thing. So it'll be, a little more moving than last year, but I don't think it's going to be a problem. And I think it's sort of Disney kind of makes it deceptive on how close and how far things are, and I think they're closer than you think.
Well, that's because the people in those costumes are much taller than you think when you get up next to them.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about, you had mentioned distance running. Obviously, you and I are both
Mm.
runners. We like being outside. Some of the things we're offering in addition to conference just sessions this year, we've got a whole slew of things, after hours, before hours, things that you can do with your family. What are you kind of looking forward to that's not a session?
That's not a session. So I'm going to be there early. I'm going to be there with my family. We're going to go to the parks, and I've got teenagers, and basically going to the parks is traveling from one place to eat to another is what they're really interested in. And Epcot, we're right by Epcot, and they're going to go around the world and probably eat their way from country to country, is what they'll be involved with. But outside of it, if you're thinking about like outside of the core education sessions, one of the things that is really cool is that on Sunday afternoon, before conference starts, we've got a session specifically for helping people network at conference. So if you're not comfortable with that type of thing, we've got something where you can get started in a safe space from a really great ILTA partner. David Cowan is going to be leading that, and I think that's a great idea. And what's really cool is right after that, we have some of what we're calling our block party sessions, which is just kind of open networking and mingling. So you get to kind of live practice right after the sort of education workshop. And I think that's going to be a neat thing. We've got a bunch of stuff the other nights there, and as I mentioned, Disney's got plenty to do if you want to get away from the conference for a little bit.
Does that mean that I can go to the? I didn't think so.
That that's
But
that's not my problem.
one of the things I think that is the nicest part about the space and the sessions this year is the collaboration. We've got first time buddies, we've got a fun run, there's going to be yoga. There's a lot of different ways for people to interact in coming out of the pandemic, certainly for people who are remote workers or hybrid workers to do. What do you think will be the most well attended session?
The most well-attended session. We have some pretty popular speakers that draw a lot of people. Uh, Sessions that I think are going to be really popular. We were working hard to do some just-in-time sessions, and one of them that has jumped out to me from your question is we're working on a session about Copilot with Microsoft. And
Cool.
as we were posting on the connected communities about people who were working with Microsoft to try to get in the early adopter program, we just got a flood of people saying they wanted to attend. Like, when is it? Let me attend. And so I think that one's going to be really popular. It's on Thursday, and we've got Microsoft speaking, and we've got some law firms there who are going to talk about where they're at with it, which is, still a moving target. I mean, the content's not done yet, but it will be by August, so it's going to be really, really timely and really, really cool. And I think that's going to be a big one. Um, we've got several on large language model AI, which is like the talk of this year. And so we've got some other ones that are both for people who want to kind of get the lay of the land and for people who want to hear specifically what law firms are doing. We've got content from both of those. And I think those are going to be really popular too.
I know that I'm speaking to Rodney a little bit later, and his
Mhm.
video will follow this one. But then I'm just going to sit back down with both you and Rodney, and we're going to talk a little bit more in depth about how sessions are chosen, how speakers are chosen, what sessions you guys really find interesting, and how all of the volunteers in ILTA really come together to make ILTACON ILTACON. Scott, thank you for joining me today, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you.